Okay, it's time to talk about my top 10 anticipated movies of 2021. First off, I realize that we're a third of the way done with 2021 already, but it's a weird year for movies, as was last year, and I haven't seen any of the ones I'm really excited for, so I figured this would be a good time to do this. Before I actually get into the top 10, I thought there were a couple of honorable mentions that deserved being talked about a little bit, even though they're not actually in my rankings. So the first honorable mention is Old, the next M. Night Shyamalan movie. In recent years, M. Night Shyamalan has been a mixed bag. I mean, his whole career, really. He did The Visit and then Split, and I was a fan of both of those. And then he did Glass, and I was not a fan of that. So I'm interested to see what he comes up with for this. It also helps that he's adapting it from a graphic novel, because I've always felt that some of his weakest parts are in his writing, so it'll be interesting, to say the least. The second honorable mention is Antlers. It's a horror movie with Kerry Russell and Jesse Plemons, and they're both always really great in whatever they're in, so I'm excited to see how that turns out. Don't really have much more to say on it than that, I'm just interested to see. The third honorable mention is Top Gun Maverick. The first Top Gun, I'm a big fan of. It's very silly. It's got the best cheesy 80s action movie junk in it. And I kind of hope they do the same kind of thing for this one. But old man Tom Cruise doing his action stuff is always fun. So the fourth honorable mention is Malignant. I don't know a thing about this movie. All I know is that it's a horror movie by James Wan. I've liked other horror movies by James Wan, so I figured I'd check it out. The fifth and final honorable mention is SpiderMan No Way Home. I watched all of the Marvel movies from Iron Man to Endgame, and to be honest, I'm pretty burnt out on superhero stuff, except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. I really enjoyed Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Truthfully, this is like the only Marvel property that I'm excited to see in this coming year, so I hope it's good. Okay, now time for the real list. And coming in at number 10, Ghostbusters Afterlife. The original Ghostbusters is an 80s comedy classic. The second one sucks and I don't remember anything from it, but the first one holds up really well. I saw it again a couple months back. It's directed by Jason Reitman, who is, I don't know if you know this, the son of Ivan Reitman, the guy who directed the original. It's got Finn Wolfhard, it's got Paul Rudd. I'm really excited for this one. Number 9, The French Dispatch. This is Wes Anderson's next movie. Truthfully, I've only ever seen one Wes Anderson movie, and that was The Grand Budapest Hotel, and I really enjoyed that, so I don't really have a lot of experience with his filmmaking, but I'm excited to see what he comes up with. Timothée Chalamet is supposed to be in it, some of the Wes Anderson regulars. At the very least, it should look really good and have a lot of great colors and symmetry. Number 8, The King's Man. I've seen both the other two Kingsman movies. I really, really like the first one. It's kind of an action movie modern classic. The second one I was iffy on. I liked it, didn't think it was great, didn't think it was terrible. This one is looking to be wholly different because it's a prequel. Eggsy isn't supposed to be in it. I don't know what to expect, but I have high hopes? Question mark? Number 7, Nobody. Now, Nobody's actually already in theaters, but I have not seen it yet, and by the time this posts, I could have already seen it, but at this moment, I have not seen it, so I'm counting it anyway. Nobody stars Bob Odenkirk, and it looks to be a John Wick type movie, if not in the John Wick universe. I love me some Bob Odenkirk, my man Saul Goodman. I'm ready to see him kick some ass. Speaking of kicking ass, Mission Impossible 7 is at the number 6 slot. Mission Impossible Fallout was the best in the series, which you never see from the 6th movie in a series. So I'm really interested in seeing what Christopher McQuarrie has for the 7th installment. The movies just seem to be getting better and better. Tom Cruise does crazier and crazier stuff. He's a lunatic. I love it. I will be in the theater. Number 5, Spiral, the next installment in the Saw franchise. I've been waiting for this movie for over a year now because it was supposed to come out last year at some point. I've seen all the Saw movies. I really like 2 of them. There's a couple more that are okay and some that are just horrendous. This one's looking to be a new take, almost like a detective David Fincher-esque take on it, and I'm really glad they're going that direction because the old shtick was getting old, and this looks to bring something new to the table. Number 4, No Time to Die. I have seen every single James Bond movie. My brother Luke and I watched every single James Bond movie in one summer. It was at some times thrilling, at other times hellacious. I have been waiting for this next installment for 5 years now? Is that right? Anyway, Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond. Rami Malek is the bad guy. Just give me some more James Bond. Number 3, another movie that I've been waiting a really long time for. A Quiet Place Part 2. This was supposed to come out a full year ago almost, and it's been pushed back and pushed back. The first one was John Krasinski showing that he has directing chops. The movie is tense, it's thrilling. I'm interested in seeing where this second one is gonna go because a lot of things happened at the end of the first one, and I have a feeling that this movie's gonna be a lot different than the first. Number 2, Last Night in Soho. This is a horror movie from Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright is my favorite director. If you don't know who he is, I'm sure you've at least heard of his movies. He's done Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This guy knows how to direct movies, and seeing that he's going to dip his toe in the horror genre is going to produce a movie that is going to be an interesting watch at the theater, to say the least. And for the number 1 movie, another movie that's been delayed for a while and that has been keeping me waiting, Halloween Kills. The original Halloween from 1978 is one of my favorite horror movies. The 2018 version is the second best in that whole series, which, yes, I've seen all of them, and most of them stink like poo-poo. But 2018's Halloween was a great installment in the franchise, really revitalized it, and I'm really excited to see Laurie Strode back fighting Michael Myers again, and it getting to be a bloody mess. What I really anticipate for this year is to have more movies coming out in theaters that I'm able to watch. Last year was so weird, and I really hope there are more movies that come out that surprise me that I didn't even have on this list, and I hope that these ones are good. If you can think of a movie that you think I missed or that you're excited to see, leave it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, you know the drill. Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your pediatrician, tell your tax accountant, tell that guy who hangs out by the vape shop who has an iguana on his shoulder. He'd probably be a fan. Thanks a lot, guys, and see you next time.